Hi there. I'm Laura Perry. I'm a writer and an artist, and I have loved story time since I was a little girl. Story time at home, at school, at the library, anywhere I could get myself to listen to someone reading a story. And it turns out that I love story time even now as an adult. So what I'd like to do is share with you part of one of my stories. This is my novel, The Bed. It's a little long to read you the whole thing, so I'm just going to read you a little part of it. This is a story with some magic in it. Just enough magic to make it interesting. The main character's name is Liz. She is a very independent woman who has just had her 30th birthday. This is her birthday. And she has had a very harrowing day. She had a birthday dinner with her family who doesn't get along, and then she had a surprise proposal from a gentleman that she's not sure she's really interested in. It's been a difficult day, so she has gone home to enjoy the birthday present that she bought herself, which is a beautiful antique bed and nightstand set. So let's see what happens. With the little bit of energy she had left, she lovingly spread her best set of sheets on her new bed and topped it with a quilt her grandmother had made for her when she was a little girl. As she worked, she glanced up at the carving on the headboard several times to reassure herself that it wasn't moving, it didn't have glowing eyes, it wasn't watching her, even though the prickles on the back of her neck told a different story. By the time she was done with the bed, she was too tired to fuss with filling the drawers of the nightstand, but she set her lamp and alarm clock on top to have them handy. Briefly, she wondered where her cat was, a friendly gray tabby tomcat she had adopted from the local animal shelter. His usual evening routine involved tucking her in, then falling asleep curled up by her feet. But he had fled beneath the sofa when the delivery men brought her birthday furniture and had not reappeared since then, not even at the sound of his food bowl being refilled. She shrugged to herself. He was here somewhere and would come out in his own time, as cats do. Yawning, she stripped out of her clothes and turned the covers back, but a sudden compulsion overtook her, and instead of lying down, she knelt on the bed facing the headboard. Her gaze focused on the face in the center of the carving. Her hands went to it, her fingertips tracing its outlines, stroking outward along the curves of the little wings, circling back to the center where she cupped its tiny visage in her palms. "I don't know who you are," she whispered, "and you're kind of weird looking. But I think you're trying to tell me something, and I hope that something is that you're good luck. Maybe you could help me out every now and then. I'm pretty good at the business stuff, but my personal life could use some help. Thanks." She kissed its nose. A wave of dizziness overtook her, and she gripped the carving to maintain her balance. As she leaned against the headboard, her stomach churned and she felt the bed tilt underneath her. Goosebumps rose on the top of her head and traveled all the way down her spine. At the same time, she felt a sensation as if bubbles were popping along the path the goosebumps had taken down her body. In an effort to regain her balance, she took several deep breaths. But as she inhaled for the third time, her awareness suddenly deepened until she could sense her internal organs, her blood pumping, her individual cells working. She marveled at the myriad tiny bits of herself, all pulsing and flowing in synchrony like some kind of microscopic community. Then her awareness expanded beyond her body to the room around her, the whole apartment, the city. It kept on enlarging until, in a single view, her consciousness encompassed the continent, the planet, the ever-enlarging cosmos, and she was one with all of it in an incredible, never-ending dance. Her mind buzzed and her heart thrummed as she floated in this novel state of being, reveling in the sensation. Then, as quickly as it had come, the feeling was gone. For a few moments, she continued to grip the headboard, working to steady her breathing, staring suspiciously at the little carved figure. Then the light bulb in the bedside lamp blew with a snap and a pinging sound that rang in the air for several seconds. Eyes wide, Liz stared through the darkness at the spot where she knew the lamp stood on her new nightstand. Coincidence, she finally managed to hiss to herself. And too much vodka, she muttered, as she slid beneath the covers, taking care not to move too fast. I'll change the damn bulb in the morning. Her thoughts wandered to the possible identity of the unknown person who had owned the bed, who had slept in the very spot where she now lay. As she tried to form an image in her mind of what the furniture's previous owner might have looked like, all of a sudden she felt as if someone was watching her. But this time they were a short distance away from the bed, not at the top of the headboard. Suppressing a shudder, she reached over to turn the lamp on, but of course she couldn't. The weight of exhaustion demanded that she remain in bed, so she did her best to squint through the darkness. Certainly there was no one there, probably not even the cat. No sound, no motion came to her in the murky room. Rolling her eyes at her own paranoia, she slid back under the covers. But for just a moment, before physical fatigue and emotional weariness dragged her down into sleep, she had the distinct impression that someone was sitting on the bed right next to her. So, that's your story time for today. See you next time.